Let's run through the odd number problems on the practice sheet just so you can see how things should look. I personally like to reduce earlier if I can, so I'm going to take this 5 and reduce them. That is going to leave me with 9 on the top, and on the bottom, 2b to the 6th. And there you go, that's all there is to it. On this one, nothing to reduce because I don't have anything on the top to reduce with the bottom, so 9m squared over 56. There you go. Now, we've done 2 of them. Let's make sure we don't forget to restrict our variables. You can't divide by 0. You can't divide by 0. So in this case, that means, hey, by the way, b cannot be 0. And on this one, there are no variables in the denominator, right? So we don't need to worry about that at all. It's only in the denominators that you need to check. Okay, here we go next. Let's take this factor of x minus 10 and reduce with that factor of x minus 10. One of these 8s on the top with the 8 on the bottom. That's going to leave us with 8 over x minus 6. Don't forget restrictions. Check your denominators. So x cannot be 10 or 6. Again, there's no variable with that 8, so the 8 does not contribute to the restrictions whatsoever. On this one, x plus 9 on the top and bottom. So what we're left with is x minus 7. Let's treat that like an x minus 7 over 1 times x plus 7 all over 9x squared. Restrictions, x cannot be 0 or negative 9. And onward we go. I'm going to move you a little bit. Excuse me, my goodness. Here we go. N plus 2, n plus 2, n minus 9, n minus 9. What are we left with? N minus 7 on the top, n minus 6 on the bottom, with a note that n cannot be equal to a 6, a negative 2, or a 9. So that is a comma there, not a 1. That is a comma. Okay, with division, very first thing to do is switch it to multiplication. So take that second fraction, flip it upside down, treat the 9 like a 9 over 1, and start reducing some things. So 8 and 8, n to the second, into n to the fourth, leaves us with an n to the second in the end. So on the top, just the 9. On the bottom, 1 times n to the second, with a note that, hey, n cannot be equal to 0. Anytime you got that variable by itself with no plus, no minus, can't be equal to 0. Currently, this is 6r over 1, so we are going to write it as 1 over 6r. Reduce your 9 and your 6. We're left with a 3 on the top and a 14r on the bottom, with the note that, hey, r cannot be equal to 0. Next up, first thing, take this, treat it as a fraction over 1. So I've got r minus 7, r minus 1, times, now reciprocate, 9 over 9r minus 1. Reduce, reduce. Boy, we're not left with much. It's just r minus 7, right? Because I have a denominator of 1, which doesn't change anything. And we need to make the note that r cannot be equal to the number 1. Next up, lots going on here. So r minus 8, r minus 9, leaving this first fraction alone, r minus 3, r plus 7. Change the divide to multiply, now flip the second one over. So r minus 3, r plus 7, over r minus 9. And I like to group the r minus 9 in parentheses just to remind myself that it is, in fact, a pair of things. So those can go, and those can go. We're left with just r minus 8, provided that r is not equal to, and remember you got to check, here, here, and here. So r cannot be equal to 3, negative 7, or 9. And then lastly, let's change to multiplication. So 6, x plus 1 on the bottom. Change to multiply. Put the 6x plus 1 on the top. And the 6x minus 7 on the bottom. Ooh, I think my mind tried to make a minus and a 7 at the same time. Okay, let's see what we got. 6's can reduce. X plus 1's can reduce. We're left with then on the top just the x minus 1. On the bottom, there's that leftover 6 and then x minus 7. With the note that x cannot be equal to, make sure you check here, here, and here, cannot be equal to -1 or 7. And there you have it. So for multiplication, reduce across the top and across the bottoms. For division, change it to a multiplication, flip that divisor, that second fraction, and then multiply across tops and bottoms after you've reduced. Check your restrictions. Make sure you never divide it by 0 along the way.